Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. This is a BBC article. Trump says anti-Tesla protesters will face you know what. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. You'll hear from Elon Musk and Donald Trump, President Trump, in a second. But hit subscribe. Your super chat support is greatly, greatly appreciated. I can't tell you how important your super chat is. And thank you so very much. This happened all throughout President Trump's last term in office. Democrats focused on one terrible day in January of 2021, only to ignore this rampant type of intimidation, billions of dollars in property damage in Trump's last year in office. That being said, and you'll hear from President Trump, you'll hear from Elon Musk in a second. Hit subscribe if you're new. Why waste 20 years of your life? Okay? Why waste 20 years of your life in prison? Why waste 10 years of your life in prison? Not one human being on this planet isn't going to buy a Tesla because you've vandalized or a person has destroyed or vandalized property. And by the way, setting flames to a property, you have no clue whose life you could end. The Democrats don't stand for anything, and unfortunately the far left continues to vote and do the bidding of the Democratic Party. Democrats did not tell any protester or demonstrator to target or vandalize a Tesla dealership. What they do is far more sinister. It's a constant campaign of lying about Elon Musk, of pretending that Trump and Elon Musk and others are menaces to humanity. This is, of course, not true. Democrats don't have a functioning primary. The same people who are likely doing this, who face possibly 20 years in prison because of this, are the same people who would have voted for Bernie Sanders. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet before I became before I realized that Trump was a great anti-war president. Wonderful for the working class. The working class loves Trump. All the buzzwords and ideology on the left, leftists should love Trump. He's the best thing that ever happened, or in recent memory, to the working class, for the working class. Okay, we had record low poverty with Trump. You have to have tariffs if there are unfair trade practices, and other countries are imposing tariffs, and we have to deal with trade deficits and intellectual property being stolen and all of that. But if you look at waste and fraud in the government, you want a smaller government. You don't want a bureaucracy that is a despotic, authoritarian bureaucracy. Then you definitely want what Musk and Trump are doing. But Democrats cheat Bernie Sanders every year. So I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet when I thought that he was anti-war, when I thought that he was anti a very corrupt political system. He isn't. He's part of the same corrupt political establishment. Bernie Sanders is the most establishment. Are you kidding me? He's utilized by the establishment to deceive and to trick and fool very intelligent, good, idealistic people on the left back into the Democratic Party. He was cheated by the Democrats. They don't have a primary. Then Biden was cheated by his own political party. They don't have a primary. It's like a gigantic cult. Anyway, really quickly, before we get to Elon Musk, there's no point in intimidation, because you should simply, if you are on the side of justice and morality and you think Elon Musk and Trump are menaces to humanity, then build the Democratic Party or a left-leaning political party, the Green Party. Nobody's going to stop buying Teslas because you've wasted 20 years of your life. This is like a public service. Like, you know, what I'm trying to say is, why waste your life for actual billionaires? The Democrats have far more billionaires than Trump does. So again, this nonsense about Bernie Sanders and AOC being against billionaires. They love billionaires. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren literally work every single day to prop up the political party that billionaires donate to in the Democratic Party. Medicare for all, single-payer health care, Green New Deal. Democrats don't believe any of it. I know. I saw it with my own eyes. Why do you think a bunch of YouTubers ran as far away as they could from the Political Action Committee they helped to potentially elevate AOC? So it's like we can just go on forever. But here, if you look, another arrest made, Colorado dealership, James Island man federally charged. If you look at the actual indictment, 20 years in federal prison. This is the DOJ. 20 years in federal prison. Why? For what? That young man who took the life of an insurance CEO. What good did he do other than take a man from his family? Okay, you don't like insurance CEOs? Then get the Democratic Party to pass laws. You want to know who takes insurance money? AOC. Go to Open Secrets and look it up. The pundits, the millionaire left-leaning pundits, by the way, who make $500,000 to $1 million a year on various platforms, including this one, okay, are lying to you about their value system. There are true believers out there. And I'm telling you, I used to be kind of a true believer. Okay, I used to be a very left-leaning person. If you want to call it progressive or whatever. Got hit pieces written against me because I wouldn't fall in line. Then I realized that Donald Trump was actually a great president. He was actually the one thing standing in the way of a despotic, authoritarian, tyrannical bureaucracy that Democrats worship and love. Anyway, hit subscribe if you're new. Let's get to President Trump and Musk. Everything you've heard about them is a lie if it comes from the Democratic Party or publications aligned with the Democratic Party. There is no far left in this country. The far left exists to be funneled into the Democratic Party. That's a very simple, true fact. There's no left. There's no progressives. There's no left in this country. It's a cult or a social club that if you deviate even a little, there are people who don't speak to each other because they had arguments about which single-payer Medicare for all plan would be more feasible. Democrats would never pass it. There's not even a state that has single-payer. They raise money off policies that are not feasible, and then they lie about Trump and Musk, and they don't care if a young man or young woman loses 20 years of their life for causes that the progressives and the leftists and the Democrats do not believe in. It is a cult and social club. It's tribalism. Anyway, let's continue. Hit subscribe.
Working for free with DOJ. He's kind of put a lot of his life on hold. And you sued Twitter a number of years ago. You just made him pay you $10 million?
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Well,
That's
right. I sued from long before he had it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they really did a number on me, you know. And I sued, and they had to pay. They paid $10 million settlement.
You're okay with that?
I mean, I left it up to the lawyers and you know the team running Twitter. So I said, you guys do what you think is the right. It makes sense.
I think it's fine.
I think it's a very low. I was looking to get much more money than that.
So you gave him a discount when the lawsuit.
He got a he got a big discount. I don't think he even knows about it.
He's become one of your, if you read and believe the media, he's become one of your best friends. He's working for free for you.
Well, I love the president. I just want to be clear about that.
You don't care about that.
I know. I love the president.
You love the president.
I think President Trump is a good man, and he's, you know.
It's nice the way he said that, you know.
Trump is a good man. He wants to end never-ending military conflict. He's a good man. He's not a bigot. He's not a despot. Okay? He's literally tearing down a Byzantine labyrinth of bureaucracy. All the authoritarians in the 30s, okay, the 40s in Europe, they were able to achieve the unspeakable evil through bureaucracy. Look it up. If you're on the far left, you're like, Musk is 1930s and 1940s Germans, man. Look up what they did. Read a book. Read a book. Preferably a vintage, like a book published before 2016. Okay. Published, in the 20th century about the Second World War. Read a book. How do despots and authoritarians and tyrants, how do they gain power? Through endless bureaucracy, through an overreaching government. Read George Orwell, 1984. I remember, like, when I was on the left, I had these, like, people like, H.R. Goodman doesn't even understand. George Orwell is a leftist. Like, well, he was against a never-ending bureaucracy that silenced your thoughts, that altered words. Who is offended by words? The left, not President Trump or Musk. The trust and safety team of Twitter would not allow us to talk about Hunter and his laptop full of graft and bribery. Then 4 years later, he's preemptively pardoned. Democrats cheat their candidates in primaries, then preemptively pardon people that we know are guilty of crimes. Then they use very shady fundraising, and they go after Snowden and Assange and anyone who speaks the truth. So I mean, it's like the true despots are on they're the ones who feel they're morally superior. And if you're like this leftist and you care about your ideology, why on earth would you vote Democrat? It's literally the antithesis of your ideology. Anyway, let's continue.
There's something nice about it.
It really is. Because, I mean, the president's been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's really outrageous. And I've at this point spent a lot of time with the president, and not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong. Not once.
I've known him for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anybody take as much as he's taken.
Yeah.
And we've discussed this, and I'm like, how do you deal with it?
Did I have a choice?
Well, you would say that to me. I'm like, what am I going to do? Worry about it? And then culminating in 2 assassination attempts, which resulted in your endorsement.
Well, I was going to do it anyway, but that was
it.
Precipitating event. Yes.
That speeded it up a little bit?
Yeah.
The day of the assassination.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I sped it up, but I was going to do it anyway.
When they try to harm Trump, okay, it only backfires. Nothing is going to make the life of Trump or Musk difficult. Nothing's going to intimidate them. Nothing's going to intimidate people from not buying Teslas. If you even think of doing what that young man, the young man who took the life of the insurance CEO did literally nothing other than help the egos, the broken, fragile, sad, pathetic egos of people on the left who are like, insurance companies, billionaires. It's like the Pavlovian dogs that they salivate when they hear a stimulus, or when they hear a stimulus, they salivate. Billionaires? Insurance companies? It's like a left-leaning Scooby-Doos. Who do you think the insurance companies and billionaires help prop up? The Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I'm not telling you to vote Republican or Trump. I'm not telling anyone anything. But I'm saying if you are a far left person, you have to stumble upon this. I mean, just vote. If you vote Democrat and you want the if you think that Trump and Musk are like horrible people, then build the Democratic Party build it from a party that cheats Bernie Sanders, that literally conspires against the left. I mean, it's like they have their priorities, but you know why most people won't do it? Because it's a gigantic racket. Grift, they call it. It's a gigantic racket where there's true believers who are young, and they're constantly inundated with with the Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, and Trump is this, Elon Musk is this, and they believe it. The 1930s and 1940s Germans, you don't. The 1930s and 1940s Germans, we won't use the name. They ended the lives of millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people through bureaucracy, which Trump and Musk are trying to destroy. You need bureaucracy to function as a government. You don't need endless Byzantine evil bureaucracy to funnel money into the Democrat or Republican parties. Let's continue.
Mr. President, with your indulgence, I'm convinced that people only know a little bit about Elon. I don't think they know everything about Elon, because as I studied and prepared for this interview, I learned a lot about you that I didn't know. I think people will think about Tesla. Democrats are demonizing you and trying to make the country hate you. I just want people to understand you a little bit better, and the person that you've gotten to know and have now put a lot of trust in.
Yeah.
And, you know, just let's go over a little bit of your bio, starting with pay.
Dr. Alfredo in Puerto Rico, God bless you. God bless Puerto Rico. Thank you so very much for watching, sir. Greatly, greatly appreciated. And thank you for the kind words. To my super chat, thank you. Thank you, doctor. Greatly appreciated. And I'm honored that you're watching. And thank you so much. I know some really lovely, wonderful, amazing people in Puerto Rico. Thank you, sir.
PayPal, and how you became involved in Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and all these.
A while. I mean, you know, I think the way to think of me is like I'm a technologist, and I try to make technologies that improve the world and make life better.
Your shirt.
Yeah, and that's why my T-shirt says tech support, because I'm here to provide the president with technology support. And now that may seem like, well, is that a silly thing? But actually, it's a very important thing, because the president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country, but then they don't get implemented. You know, so if you take for example, all the funding for the migrant hotels, the president issued an executive order where, hey, we need to stop taking taxpayer money and paying for luxury hotels for illegal immigrants.
Again, if you think it's immoral, then run on it. Does AOC run on millions upon millions for hotels for undocumented immigrants? Why don't you ask that? Why don't they run on single payer, Green New Deal, millions upon millions of dollars for hotels for undocumented immigrants? Not enforcing immigration laws at the border. They should run on these things. They don't run on them. They're not proud of them. The Democrats don't believe in anything that AOC or Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or the squad claims to believe in. They don't believe in anything. Okay? The YouTube pundits with 1 million to 3 million subs, okay, that say vote Democrat no matter what, and they're on the far left, they're making 500,000, almost certainly 500,000 to 1 million plus a year. You think they're like far left people are going to go ahead and where were the videos of them demonstrating in the summer of 2020? You won't find them. They're too well. They're not going to risk all their wealth. The wealthiest people are the socialists and communists on Twitch or TikTok or this platform. They're the wealthiest people in this country. And then they're against the billionaires, man. They're against the insurance companies, man. Go on Open Secrets. AOC is literally funded by one of the biggest, largest insurance companies. I think it's 62 grand that she got. They don't believe anything. I was so indoctrinated. I thought that the Federal Bureau of Investigation was completely independent of President Obama. I was so indoctrinated, but I wouldn't say I was foolish. I was smart enough not to be completely indoctrinated. So I left and supported President Trump, which, by the way, is the moral imperative. Okay, the morally inferior position is just to vote Democrat. If you don't vote Democrat or President Trump, I respect you 100% if you don't want to do that. That is a true left-leaning position, not to vote for either political party. But to just vote Democrat and claim you're a communist, it's the height of not only ignorance, it's the most irrational position on the planet. Let's continue.
which makes no sense. Like, so obviously people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals. And yet they were still doing that, even as late as last week. And so, you know, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the DOJ team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out. And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing because the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
You're both aware, you have to be keenly aware that the media and the punditry class, not that, you know, I think you've proven they have no power anymore because they threw everything they had at you and they didn't win. And that was, you know, the New York Times, Washington Post, 3 networks, every late night comedy show, 2 cable channels. They just threw everything, lawfare, weaponization.
Sure.
And now I see they want you two to start, they want a divorce. They want you two to start hating each other. And they try, President Elon Musk, for example. You do know that they're doing that to you.
Oh, I see it all the time. They tried it, then they stopped. That wasn't. They have many different things of hatred. Actually, Elon called me. He said, you know, they're trying to drive us apart. I said, absolutely. No, they said, we have breaking news. Donald Trump has ceded control of the presidency to Elon Musk. President Musk will be attending a cabinet meeting tonight at 8 o'clock. And I say, it's just so obvious. They're so bad at it. I used to think they were good at it. They're actually bad at it.
Another thing, also Democrats, they use this phrase, Christian nationalism, but the word Christianity is not frightening to most Americans, obviously. Why would it be? Then they're like, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not frightening, nor is he's admired by most Americans. And like Trump, menace to society. Nobody believed it. Now the Democrats, their funding is going to be completely evaporate. So now who knows how they're going to, win the midterms or in any other next presidential election. Who knows how?
Because if they were good at it, I'd never be president. Because I think nobody in history has ever gotten more bad publicity than me. I could do the greatest things. I get 98% bad publicity. I could do, outside of you and a few of your very good friends, it's like the craziest thing. But you know what I have learned, Elon? The people are smart. They get it.
Yeah, they do, actually.
They get it. They really see what's happening.
Yes.
And at the end of this interview, what I would like is I want people to know the relationship and know more about you. What is the relationship, Mr. President?
Well, I respect him. I've always respected him. I never knew that he was right on certain things, and I'm usually pretty good at this stuff. He did Starlink. He did things that were so advanced and nobody knew what the hell they were. I can tell you in North Carolina, they had no communication. They were wiped out. Those people were, they had rivers in between. Land that never saw water, all of a sudden it was a river and a vicious, like rapids. People were dying all over. They had no communication. They said, you know Elon Musk? They didn't really know I knew him. I said, yeah. He said, could you get Starlink? It's like the first time I ever heard of it. I said, what's Starlink? A communication system. That's unbelievable.
I have it.
Yeah. And he said, I called him and I said, listen, they really need it. And he got like thousands of units of this communication, and it saved a lot of lives. He got it immediately, and you can't get it. I mean, you have to wait a long time to get it. But he got it to him immediately, and I said, that's pretty amazing, and I didn't even know he had it. We watched the rocket ships, and we watch Tesla. I think, something that had an effect on me was when I saw the rocket ship come back and get grabbed, like you grab a beautiful little baby. You grab your baby. It just
hug the rocket.
I've never seen.
Right, everything needs a hug, including rockets.
And he said, you can't really have a rocket program if you're going to dump $1 billion into the ocean every time you fly. You have to save it.
Right.
And he saved it. First time that I've ever seen that done. Now, nobody else can do it. If you look at the U.S., Russia, or China, they can't do it. And they won't be able to do it for a long time. He has the technology. So You learn. I wanted somebody really smart to work with me in terms of the country, a very important aspect. Because, I mean, he doesn't talk about it. He's actually a very good businessman. And when he talks about the executive orders, and this is probably true for all presidents, you write an executive order and you think it's done. You send it out. It doesn't get done. It doesn't get implemented. They don't implement it. Maybe they're from the last administration, and they are in some cases. You try and get them out as fast as you can. But I could, as soon as he said that, I said, you know, that's interesting. You write a beautiful executive and you sign it and you assume it's going to be done, but it's not. What he does is he takes it, and with his 100 geniuses, he's got some very brilliant young people working for him that dress much worse than him, actually.
Yeah,
they dress in just T-shirts. You wouldn't know they have 180 IQ.
Wait a minute. So he's your tech support.
No, he is.
I actually
but he's
am
much
tech
more
support.
than that.
I actually am tech support, though. But that's,
he gets it done. He's a leader.
Yeah.
He really is. He gets it done. You get a lot of tech people, and you have people that are good with tech, but he gets it done. You know, I said in real estate, you had guys that would draw beautiful renderings of a building, and they'd draw the rendering, it would be great, and you say, great, when are you starting? But they were never able to get it built. They couldn't get the financing. They couldn't get the approvals. It would never get done. And then you have other guys that are able to get it done. You know, they could just get it done. I was in real estate. Same thing in this. He gets it done. So when he said that, he said, you know, when you sign these executive orders, a lot of them don't get done, and maybe the most important ones. And he would take that executive order that I'd sign, and he would have those people go to whatever agency it was. When are you doing it? Get it done, get it done. And some guy that maybe didn't want to do it, all of a sudden, he's signing. He just doesn't want to be bothered.
Do a lot of those executive orders have to be codified into law? Do you need the Republican Congress
and
to
they
follow
will be.
up?
A lot of them will be,
They will.
But look, in the meantime, we have 4 years. The beauty is we have 4 years. That's why I like doing it right at the beginning. Because an executive order is.
We got about 8 years also, because J.D. Vance, I think J.D. Vance will win. I don't see anyone. Who do Democrats have? Pelosi? She's 150 years old. Biden? Well, no, he can't run. Actually, he could run it. Well, no, he can't. No. Sorry, Biden could run again. He was usurped by Harris. Will she run again? Oh, I heard Tim Walz is going to run. That'd be fantastic. Oh, I pray to God. AOC would be the best. Look, the Republicans, people who vote for Trump believe in enforcing immigration laws. They believe in ending nuclear confrontations. They believe in tax cuts. You don't have to believe in that. The people who vote Democrat do not believe in single payer. They don't. They don't believe that They don't believe in all the far left ideologies. They don't. They pretend to in media. And the way Democrats work is they don't want to ruffle any feathers. They don't want to be seen as mean. So if you said, it's moral to hop on one foot and juggle flaming bowling pins while singing another country's national anthem, they'll be like, that's what's very moral. We know this. All of these organizations have said it's moral, and then they'll just go with it. They don't want to be disowned. They don't want to have people not go to their Thanksgiving. Only left-leaning Democrats say, I'm not going to Thanksgiving. Trump voted. You voted for Trump. It's more turkey for the Trumpers. Anyway, so you're not hurting anyone but yourself. Anyway, let's continue.
Great. I mean, the one problem is both good and bad, because when they did all these executive orders, I've canceled most of them. They were terrible. I mean, we're going to go radical left communist. Okay, it was crazy. Their
really crazy.
Executive orders were so bad. If they ever got them codified, you'd never be able to break them. So the damage that Biden has done to this country, and it's not even Biden, it's the people that circled him in the Oval Office, okay? But the damage they did to this country, in terms of, let's say, open borders, there's so many things, but open borders where millions of people poured into our country, and hundreds of thousands of those people are criminals. They're murderers, they're drug dealers, they're gang members, they're people from prisons from all over the world, this group, and other people, and they're all getting done. We're getting them done.
Let me go back a little bit to your background, because it's beyond impressive. You were the chief engineer, for example. You were an early believer in Tesla. You became the CEO.
And of course, AOC tells her followers, he's not really smart, guys. He's not really smart. And it's like, I don't even want to say anything.
CEO, and then the chief engineer, which was phenomenal. SpaceX, same thing, which is unbelievable. I mean, you were the first company, private company, to send astronauts successfully into space. First private company to send astronauts into orbit.
Yeah.
That's pretty deep.
He's going to go into orbit soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's going to go to Mars. He's gonna fly on his-
At some point. Yeah.
Is in over.
I mean, they always ask me, like, do you want to die on Mars? And I say, well, yes, but not on impact.
Starlink is in 100 countries. This is going to be hard. I feel like I'm interviewing two brothers here.
You go ahead.
Star Shield, which could be used for national defense.
Yeah, it is already being used for national defense.
Then you have what is it called? Optimus, a part of Tesla.
The robot, yeah.
A robotic arm. Then you have an AI arm. And then you have something that really...
Having your information
And it's called Neuralink.
Yes.
You might help the blind to see,
Yes.
and people with spinal cord injuries, that they can recover, where in the past... How close is that becoming a success?
Neuralink, we've implanted Neuralink in 3 patients so far who are quadriplegics, and it allows them to directly control their phone and computer just using their mind, just by thinking. It's like, so we call this product telepathy. So you control your computer and phone just by thinking, and it's possible to actually control the computer and phone faster than someone who has working hands. Then the next step would be to add a second Neuralink implant past the point where the neurons damaged, so that somebody can walk again, and so they can have full body functionality restored. And
you like Bobby, right?
I like Bobby, actually. Yeah, I think I supported Bobby Kennedy. I think he's unfairly maligned as someone who is.
So Elon Musk is trying to help blind people see, and people who lost the ability to walk again. Why? Tell me again why you shouldn't drive a Tesla, or that people are giving up 20 years of their life to hurt this man's company. Why? Only Democrats and mainstream, the people who claim to be against mainstream and they're left, they are the mainstream. It's a giant racket. Bernie Sanders exists. Elizabeth Warren exists. The squad exists. So the communists and socialists vote Democrat. The people who claim to be democratic socialists or communists or socialists in America, these are not that's not reality. There are no political parties like that. And if you want to build one, that's a different story. There are political parties, but they're not, an obstacle to the Democratic Party. If they were, Democrats would ensure that they cease to exist. So what Democrats do is they take the far left, the left, progressives, liberals, and they funnel them all back into the Democratic Party that doesn't believe in anything that they claim to believe in. And then they deceive and lie about who Elon Musk is, who Trump is, and no longer in American politics is it, oh, you just disagree? Okay, no problem. It's a moral issue because Democrats, by and large, are atheists, which is fine. If you're an atheist or agnostic, you could be agnostic I know is the most intelligent person on the planet to me. Okay? That you could be an extremely amazing human being, atheist, whatever. But if your religion is Democratic Party, progressive, socialist, communist politics, that's your religion, you're not an atheist. You're a true believer. And you see anyone that disagrees with you as a heretic. If you just replace religion with politics, you've done yourself no good in terms of rational thought. If you look at Trump or Elon Musk or Trump, or if you think of Trump supporters and you get this Pavlovian response, you've gone too far into the deep end of theocracy, left-leaning theocracy.
Anti-science, but I think he isn't. He just wants to question the science, which is the essence of the science. The scientific method fundamentally is about always questioning the science.
Well, they didn't tell us the truth about COVID.
Correct.
That's for sure.
Yes.
And we learned a lot with the Twitter files. And that just then raises a question. You're the richest man in the world. You may not like that part.
Yeah.
You're pretty competitive.
It's neither here nor there.
I've known you a long time. But
That's why.
But he's on your team.
President.
Well, that's true. He can't top that.
He's good. I wanted to find somebody smarter than him. I searched all over. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't.
You
I couldn't.
really tried hard.
I couldn't find anyone smarter, right? So we had it for the country.
But this is the thing.
We settled on this.
Well,
guy.
thanks for having me.
So,
I'm just trying to be useful.
This
here.
is the interesting. This is where we are as a society, and I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to do it anyway. You're doing all of these things. Nobody at DOJ gets paid a penny, correct?
Well, actually, some people are federal employees.
Some are, okay.
Yeah,
They're helping.
But it's fair to say that the software engineers at DOJ could be earning millions of dollars a year, and instead of earning a small fraction of that as federal employees.
Okay, so just
And they're very committed people.
so
Yes.
you're committed to helping the blind see, people with spinal cord injuries recover.
Yes.
You're committed to getting to Mars. You're committed to rescue. You're going to help rescue next month 2 astronauts that I think were abandoned. They dispute that in an interview.
When
At the president's request, or instruction, we are accelerating the return of the astronauts, which was postponed kind of to a ridiculous degree.
They got left in space.
They've been there. They were supposed to be there 8 days. They're there almost 300.
Biden.
They were yes, they were left up there for political reasons, which is not good.
Okay, it's not good. Now, if I had the weight of the pressure of doing that successfully on my shoulders, I think I'd be, But when we spoke before we did this interview, you are very confident. You think this will be a successful mission.
Well, we don't want to be complacent, but we have brought astronauts back from the space station many times before, and always with success.
Mm-hmm.
So, as long as we're not complacent,
When are you going to launch?
I think it's about 4 weeks to bring them back.
About 4 weeks.
Yeah,
And
You
we're
have
being
the go-ahead.
extremely cautious. Yeah.
You now have the go-ahead.
Yes. Well, thanks to you.
They didn't have the go-ahead with Biden.
What's
He
that?
was going to leave him in space. I think he was going to leave him in space.
Well, it's like
He
when
considered
we were
it
growing
like-
up, lost in space.
Yeah, he didn't want the publicity. Can you believe it?
Unbelievable. And so,
Yeah.
So he's helping the blind see, he's helping people who can't walk, and he's saving astronauts stuck in space. Remember the show Lost in Space? Now it's Lost in Space because Biden is one fry short of a Happy Meal. And it's like, what is wrong with these two? You don't agree with Musk and Trump, then vote Democrat forever and continue to lose with the current Democratic Party. Don't intimidate people. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Build a political party. Build the Green Party. If you're a communist and socialist, build those parties. And then watch the Democrats descend upon you.
Yeah.
I want to echo something that the president said and then ask an overarching question. People get hit with Hurricane Helene, they have no communication with the outside world. You come to the rescue, you donated that, I
Yes,
believe?
yes.
Okay. You donated to the people
He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina. He saved a lot of lives.
and California after the wildfires?
California, but I mean, in North Carolina, where they were really in trouble, they had no communication. People were
Nothing.
dying. They were dying of starvation. He saved a lot of lives in North Carolina.
Okay, now you're going to rescue astronauts. And now, and again, you do all of this. I would think liberals would love the fact that you have the biggest electric vehicle company in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be adored by the left,
Yeah, not anymore.
Less so these days.
He killed that, huh?
I mean, less so.
I really didn't know.
Well, I mean, this whole sort of like, they call it like Trump derangement syndrome. And I don't, you don't realize how real this is until like you can't reason with people. So like I was at a friend's birthday party in LA, just a birthday dinner, and it was like a nice, quiet dinner, and everyone was behaving normally. And then I happened to mention, this is before the election, like a month or two before, I happened to mention the president's name, and it was like they got shot with a dart in the jugular that contained like methamphetamine and rabies. Okay, and they're like, wow, and I'm like, what is wrong?
That is the perfect description of the wonderful morally superior. You can add a whole bunch of other things to that dart for people that I have known. Okay, it's a religion. They worship, people on the left who are atheists worship and are basically what Elon Musk just described, worship the Democratic Party or progressive or whatever left-leaning ideologies they latch onto. It's a religion. It's no longer just, oh, politics? Okay, it's a religion. Okay, nobody voting for Trump is looking in the mirror saying, I'm morally superior. They say, oh, I want a functioning border. I don't want nuclear confrontation. I want lower taxes. It's not a moral, God doesn't care who I vote for. But then again, if you don't believe in God, and your God is, whatever intelligence report or whatever study or whatever bureaucracy or media says about Trump or Musk or anyone else, that's your God. If your God is a social acceptance among your left-leaning friends and social circle, that's what you worship. That's your spirituality. If your soul, if you don't even think you have a soul, you don't even think souls exist, then your spirituality, if you're an atheist, is left-leaning politics. That's what you think is moral. That's why you believe you're on this planet. That's not only sad, it's wrong. The left-leaning ideologies oftentimes are the most immoral. There's some very moral elements to left-leaning ideology. It's true. You want, justice. Yeah, and how you get there, the road to where is paved with good intentions. How do you get there? Okay. The reality is that the Trump supporter and the leftist agree on more things in aggregate than they disagree. The problem is the average leftist today is almost always an atheist that has replaced religion with left-leaning ideology. So that's why Elon Musk explained that, these people turned into monsters. You can't reason with somebody who's been indoctrinated against Trump for 8 years. They think that he tried to foment a rebellion and he's a Kremlin operative. They believe in only conspiracy theories, and then they pontificate against these theories. So it's like, you can't reason. That's why they don't go to Thanksgiving dinner and disown friends and family. Because their religion, it's like they view it to be heresy. Anyway, let's continue.
Guys, like, you just can't have like a normal conversation. Yeah. And it's like they become completely irrational.
He has no idea, but if you're friends with him, you pay a price. It's like I walk in a restaurant in New York and it's like half the room it's daggers and they want to.
No, the eye daggers level is insane. Yeah. I mean, there was like, I had like some invitation because I got invited to like basically a big sort of damn event like. But it received the invitation like the beginning of last year, and I still attended even after I'd endorsed President Trump, and I didn't realize how profoundly that would affect, how I was received. I mean, I walk into the room and I'm getting just the dirty looks from everyone. Like,
yeah, but it's good. It's a good thing. I haven't truly it still hurts that I've, been disowned by like 10 lifelong friends. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been disowned by friends or family because of Trump, it's actually a good thing. Why would you want to share your life with somebody who thinks so little of you that they would disown you for politics? So if anything, thank you, President Trump, for protecting me from people who have flawed characters. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, President Trump, for the 10 lifelong friends who disowned me, because unfortunately, I found out sooner rather than later that although they're wonderful, amazing, beautiful, awesome people, there's a character flaw there. Anyone who disowns a friend because of President Trump has a serious character flaw. Okay? Money, politics, and religion, I was taught never to talk about. But when politics and religion merges with the wonderful, morally superior, atheistic, left-leaning people, that you're a heretic. So if you're disowned by a leftist friend or a progressive or a liberal Democrat, that's a good thing for you in a way. It hurts because you're like, wait a second, I gave you my kidney. What's going on? It hurts. But you know what? Now you've protected yourself because of President Trump's amazing, protective aura, orange protective aura. You've protected yourself against people who would, like the OJ song, backstabbers. Why would you want to be close to somebody who would disown you, never speak to you again, lecture you, argue with you, not go to Thanksgiving dinner because of politics? That's called a character flaw. And it's based on a warped, twisted sense of morality. I disowned my Trump-supporting family and friends because of morality. Because we can't have a functioning border. We can't have an end to never-ending military conflict. We can't have tax cuts. We can't have free speech. And yes, age-appropriate material has nothing to do with free speech. But anyway, we can go on. Anyway, let's continue.
Like, if looks could kill, I would have been dead several times over.
But that was not before Trump. BT,
ashes on the floor.
BT, before Trump, that never happened, right?
No.
BT, there's before Trump. It's really BT, AT, after Trump, like BC, AD. There's BT, AD. It really is. And it's really comedy stinks now. I mean, really, it's kind of like you can't be offensive. Now being offensive is just being extremely mean, but not. Actually, nothing was offensive. Back before 2016 or 2015, a comedian could actually, not even before 2014 or 2010. You could have a Sam Kinison today. He was one of the best comedians ever, because even back in the 80s, back in the late 80s and early 90s, he still got heat. But he was funny. He was funny. I don't know what it is today. Like,
you're working with the agency heads. You're working.
I don't know what it is. When I it could be my age. When I listen to, Richard Pryor or Don Rickles, and then the modern comedians, I would put, alongside them, Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle. I don't know many modern comedians. Today, you look at comedy, Eddie Murphy, like I said, Robin Williams, Don Rickles, Richard Pryor, all of these comedy used to laugh from your gut. The laugh would emanate from inside you, and it would be so hilarious and funny. I'm looking at now comedians, and again, no disrespect to the younger generation. They could be very popular. It could be 1 million views, and I don't even lie. I'm just staring at it like, it's not funny. I don't know. What modern left-leaning ideology, quote unquote, culture has done is not allowed people to enjoy themselves. Look at film. Look at film. Are there any like modern, like, are there any comedies? Are there any, like, could you have an American Pie, or could you have you know, any of those movies from 20 years ago? Could they even be? No, it would be viewed as offensive to this, offensive to that. Anyway, let's continue.
With the cabinet secretaries.
Yes.
I saw Howard Lutnick was on TV yesterday saying you were partnering with them. Is that fair?
Yeah, what we do is in consultation with the cabinet secretaries and with their departments. So we're really trying to be we'll refer to ourselves as tech support. Mm-hmm. You know, we're really helping the department get a handle on things, because what actually happens here is you've got this sort of vast federal bureaucracy, and then you've got a very thin layer on top of the politically appointed officials, and what tends to happen is that the bureaucracy, frankly, is in control, and they largely ignore the politically appointed people.
Why should the bureaucracy?
I'm sure you must have seen that.
I've lived with this twice. I worked for Reagan many years ago, and I worked for Trump in the first term.
Yeah.
It's like a permanent bureaucracy. I might add, it's a permanently liberal bureaucracy.
Yes, very much so.
And it doesn't, it's not a, you're working.
Micro Blue, thank you for being a member. To my members, thank you. It's a permanent liberal bureaucracy, okay? The liberal ideology had taken over the United States government for, I don't know, 15 years. No longer. And Trump is not a Bush Republican, so it's completely different. This is the most libertarian government, which is hilarious, because then libertarians would rather have Biden. It's really hilarious. All of these ideologies are meaningless when you adhere to, you want to be socially accepted by the apoplectic, rabid left. So you're like, oh, I'm a libertarian, but I don't like Trump. Like, well, then who do you voted for Biden? Really? Literally the antithesis of libertarian ideology. But again, you don't have to adhere to ideologies. Like, for example, people say, well, how did you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump? Like, there was a direct line from 2016 Bernie Sanders to President Trump. Direct line. I wrote about that in the Federalist. You're anti-endless wars. Okay. You want a great economy. We had record low poverty with Trump. Why wouldn't you want Trump? Anyway, God bless you all. Thank you. To my super chat, thank you. I will be back, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back. I'm doing 2 live streams a day. Every single day, forever, from here on out. Almost every single day. So be here tonight about 10 p.m. Pacific, or no, Eastern time. 10 or 9 p.m. Eastern. Not sure, but be here tonight. Thanks, everybody. God bless. To my super chat, thank you. And God bless you all. To the members in this